You know, there's something I've heard from so many of my friends over 60. They'll say, "Oh, it's just a little ache," or "I'm just feeling a bit off today." And while it's true our bodies change as we age, sometimes those little signs are trying to tell us something important. In fact, doctors warn that there are certain symptoms we should never ignore after 60, because what might seem minor could actually be a red flag for something much more serious. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. Quite the opposite. Knowledge is power, and the sooner we recognize these warning signs, the sooner we can take action to stay healthy and strong. That's why today, we're going to talk about 6 deadly symptoms that deserve your attention. Think of it as a friendly reminder, because taking care of ourselves is how we keep enjoying life to the fullest. Let's start with the first symptom, one that's easy to brush off but can be a silent alarm bell. Number 1, unexplained chest pain or pressure. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If I was having a heart attack, I'd know it. But here's the thing, heart attacks don't always look like they do in the movies. Especially for women, the signs can be subtler. It might feel like a dull ache, tightness, or even just indigestion that won't go away. And sometimes, the pain isn't even in the chest, it could be in the jaw, shoulder, or arm. A good friend of mine, Martha, told me she once dismissed a strange pressure in her chest as just stress. Luckily, her daughter insisted she get checked out, and it turned out to be a blocked artery. She got treatment in time, but it was a wake-up call. So, if something feels off in your chest, even if it's mild, don't wait. Call your doctor or head to the ER. It's always better to be safe. Now, the second symptom is sudden dizziness or confusion. We've all had moments where we stand up too fast and feel a little lightheaded. That's normal. But if you're experiencing dizziness out of nowhere, or if you suddenly feel disoriented, like you can't remember where you are or what you were doing, that's not something to ignore. This could be a sign of anything from dehydration to a mini-stroke, also known as a TIA. My neighbor, Frank, once told me he brushed off a dizzy spell because he thought he'd just overdone it in the garden. Turns out, it was a warning sign of a bigger issue. The doctor told him that catching it early made all the difference. So, if your head feels foggy or the room starts spinning unexpectedly, don't chalk it up to just getting older. Get it checked out. And that brings us to our third symptom, one that's often overlooked because it's so common. Shortness of breath. Now, if you've just climbed a flight of stairs or carried a heavy grocery bag, sure, you might be a little winded. But if you're struggling to catch your breath while doing everyday activities, or worse, while resting, that's a sign something's not right. This could point to heart trouble, lung issues, or even anemia. My Uncle Joe used to joke that he was just out of shape when he got breathless walking to the mailbox. But his wife finally convinced him to see the doctor, and they discovered a heart condition that needed treatment. After a few simple adjustments, he was back to his old self, gardening, playing with the grandkids, all of it. The lesson? Listen to your body, even when the changes seem small. Now, we've covered 3 critical symptoms so far: chest pressure, dizziness, and shortness of breath. But there are 3 more we need to talk about, and they're just as important. So, let's keep going. You know, one of the things I love about this community is how we look out for each other. Just last week, a viewer named Barbara left a comment saying her sister kept complaining about just not feeling right. Turns out, it was her body's way of waving a big red flag. That's why it's so important to pay attention to those little signals, especially as we get older. Now, let's talk about the 4th symptom doctors say we should never ignore: unexplained weight loss. And I'm not talking about the few pounds that might come off when you start eating a bit healthier or walking more. I mean losing weight without trying, especially if it's 10 pounds or more over a few months. This kind of weight loss can sometimes be a sign of serious conditions like cancer, diabetes, or thyroid problems. My cousin Edna was thrilled when she dropped a dress size without dieting, until her doctor asked some questions and ran tests. Thankfully, they caught her thyroid issue early, and with treatment, she's been doing great. But here's the key: she might have waited months to mention it if her daughter hadn't noticed how loose her clothes were getting. So if you or someone you love is losing weight without explanation, don't write it off as good luck. Make an appointment with your doctor. It's one of those things where it's probably nothing serious, but you'll sleep better knowing for sure. Now, let's talk about symptom number 5, persistent pain, especially in your legs when you walk. Many of us think, oh, my joints are just getting old, or I must have overdone it yesterday. But if you notice cramping or pain in your calves, thighs, or hips that comes on when you're active and goes away when you rest, pay attention. This could be a sign of peripheral artery disease, where narrowed arteries reduce blood flow to your limbs. Left untreated, it can lead to serious complications. My old bowling buddy, Carl, kept insisting his leg pain was just arthritis, until one day he couldn't make it from the parking lot to the grocery store without stopping 3 times. His doctor explained that getting treatment early could have spared him months of discomfort. The takeaway? Don't assume every ache is just part of aging. If you have consistent pain that follows a pattern, especially in your legs, get it checked out. Now, we need to talk about the 6th symptom, and this one's particularly important because it's often missed until it's too late. Changes in your vision that happen suddenly. I am not talking about needing stronger reading glasses, that's normal. I mean things like sudden blurriness, dark spots, or flashes of light. These could signal a detached retina, stroke, or other serious eye conditions where every minute counts. A dear friend of mine, Rose, once described it as a dark curtain slowly being pulled down over one eye. She waited overnight to call her eye doctor, and he told her she was lucky she came in when she did. Any longer and she might have lost vision in that eye permanently. Now she tells everyone, if your vision changes suddenly, don't wait. Don't sleep on it. Call your eye doctor or go to the ER immediately. These last 3 symptoms, unexplained weight loss, persistent leg pain, and sudden vision changes, are just as crucial as the first 3 we discussed. But here's what I want you to remember. Our bodies talk to us in whispers before they start shouting. The key is learning to listen to those whispers. In the next part, we'll wrap up with some important thoughts about why paying attention to these symptoms matters so much, and what you can do to stay on top of your health without living in fear. Because here's the good news, when we know what to watch for, we can take action early. And that makes all the difference in staying healthy, active, and independent for years to come. You know, as we've been talking about these symptoms, I've been thinking about my dear Aunt Margaret. She used to say, getting older isn't for the faint of heart, but it sure beats the alternative. And she was right. The secret isn't worrying about every little ache or pain, it's knowing which ones truly deserve our attention. We've covered 6 crucial warning signs so far: chest pressure, dizziness, shortness of breath, unexplained weight loss, persistent leg pain, and sudden vision changes. But before we wrap up, I want to share something just as important as recognizing these symptoms: what to do next. First and foremost, trust yourself. If something feels wrong, it probably is. I can't tell you how many doctors have told me they wish their patients would speak up sooner. Your body has been with you for 6 decades or more, you know it better than anyone. That gut feeling that says, this isn't normal for me? That's wisdom talking. Second, don't let fear stop you from getting checked out. I completely understand that nervousness. What if it's bad news? But here's what my cardiologist friend always says: early detection turns potential tragedies into manageable situations. Modern medicine can do amazing things when problems are caught early. Now, I don't want you to leave this video feeling anxious. Quite the opposite. Knowledge is power, and being aware of these symptoms means you're already taking control of your health. The goal isn't to spend your golden years worrying, it's to spend them living fully, confidently, and with peace of mind. Here's my challenge for you. Pick one thing from this video that resonated most with you. Maybe it's that nagging symptom you've been brushing off, or maybe it's something you've noticed in a loved one. Make that phone call today. Schedule that checkup. And if you're the type who hates bothering the doctor, remember, you're not a bother. You're being smart, proactive, and kind to yourself. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you or someone you love ever caught a health issue early because you noticed one of these symptoms? Your story could give someone else the nudge they need to take action. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and share it with a friend. You never know whose life you might be helping to protect. Remember, growing older is a privilege denied to many. Let's honor that privilege by taking good care of ourselves, not out of fear, but out of love for the life we get to live. Here's to your health, your happiness, and many more years of making wonderful memories. Take care of yourselves, my friends. I'll see you in the next video.